On Friday night, Lagos did not sleep. It never did. From the 13th floor of her apartment on Victoria Island, Amara Diallo watched the city glow like a living organism, headlights bleeding into wet asphalt, distant horns arguing with one another, generators humming beneath the music of the Atlantic. The air smelled faintly of rain and diesel, a familiar perfume she had grown to associate with progress. Where are you watching from today? Drop your location in the comments below and hit that subscribe and like button. Let's back to the story. Amara Diallo was barefoot, standing by the glass wall with her laptop balanced on the dining table behind her, a mug of untouched tea cooling beside it. The spreadsheet on her screen showed projected load transfers across 3 coastal energy hubs, numbers cascading into certainty. In less than 6 months, those numbers would become contracts. Then infrastructure. Then history. Her phone vibrated. Once. Then again. She glanced at it without urgency. Only one thing ever interrupted her focus at this hour. Family. The WhatsApp group Diallo family had exploded into life. She sighed quietly and picked up the phone. A voice note waited at the top. Malik. Her younger brother. She pressed play. Hey, Amara, he said, voice light, almost cheerful. So, listen. About tomorrow. The cookout. There was a pause, the sound of someone shifting, a breath being taken. Safia thinks it might be better if you don't come. Amara did not blink. She says you bring the vibe down, Malik continued, chuckling nervously, as though that softened the words. You're always so quiet. So serious. People don't really know how to act around you. Another pause. So, yeah. Let's just keep it easy this time, okay? The message ended. For a moment, Amara stared at the phone as if it had spoken in another language. Then reactions poured in. Heart emojis and laughing emojis. Children of these days, her mother wrote. Don't take it to heart, her aunt added. Safia is just expressive, another cousin chimed in. Expressive. Amara read the message again. And again. She typed slowly. Understood. No emoji. No punctuation beyond the period. She locked the phone and placed it face down on the table. The city reflected her back at herself, tall, dark-skinned, composed. Her hair was wrapped in a silk scarf, her posture straight even when alone. At 37, Amara Diallo carried herself with the quiet assurance of someone who had survived being underestimated for most of her life. She returned to her laptop. By dawn, she would sign a memorandum of understanding that would reshape energy distribution in 4 West African countries. The deal alone was worth more than everything her family owned combined. Yet to them, she was still Amara who never married. Still, the quiet one. Still, the one who works with computers. She finished reviewing the projections, closed the file, and powered down the laptop. As she prepared for bed, she did not feel anger. Only clarity. When people told Amara she was not welcome, she did not beg for space. She simply made room for consequences. Saturday morning came wrapped in sunlight. Amara woke early, as she always did, the city already humming beneath her window. She moved through her apartment with practiced ease, shower, pressed blouse, tailored trousers, low heels. She did not dress to impress. She dressed to align. By 7:45 a.m., her driver was already waiting downstairs. Kantara Dynamics occupied the top 8 floors of a mirrored tower in Ikoyi, a building that caught the sun and scattered it across the lagoon. Amara liked arriving before most people. Silence sharpened her thinking. She passed through security with a nod, exchanged greetings with the early staff, and stepped into the private elevator that carried her directly to her floor. Her office overlooked the water. Glass walls. Clean lines. Purpose. On the far wall, her name was mounted in brushed steel, not decorative, but declarative. Amara Diallo. Chief Systems Architect. She had earned every letter. At 9:19 a.m., as she reviewed a technical brief, her intercom chimed. Amara? Her assistant's voice held a note of uncertainty. There's a situation downstairs. Amara did not look up. Go on. There's a woman in the lobby insisting she needs to speak to whoever handles private investments. She refuses to leave. Her husband is with her. Amara closed the folder. What's her name? She wouldn't say. Of course she wouldn't. Amara leaned back in her chair. Send them up. A pause. Are you sure? Yes. She straightened a pen on her desk and waited. Exactly 1 minute and 40 seconds later, the elevator doors slid open. Safia entered as if she owned the space. Her heels clicked sharply against the marble floor, her presence loud before she spoke. She wore confidence like perfume, thick, overwhelming. Her dress clung tightly, emerald green catching the light, her hair perfectly styled. Behind her came Malik. Her brother looked smaller than Amara remembered. Thinner. His shoulders curved inward as if he were bracing himself for something he did not want to face. They stopped. Safia's eyes darted across the office, glass walls, leather chairs, the skyline beyond. Then they landed on the name behind the desk. Her smile faltered. Malik froze completely. You work here? Safia asked slowly. Amara remained seated. Yes. Malik swallowed. This is your office? Amara folded her hands calmly. What do you want? Safia recovered quickly. She always did. Shock slid seamlessly into performance. Oh my God, she laughed, stepping forward. This is insane. I had no idea. She removed a glossy presentation folder from her bag and placed it carefully on the desk. This is actually perfect, she continued brightly. I've been trying to get meetings all week. Amara nodded once. Yes. Please cancel my noon meeting and push it to Monday. The assistant hesitated. The board. I'll brief them later, Amara said calmly. When the door closed again, Amara finally exhaled. She did not feel shaken. What she felt was something colder and more precise. A line had been crossed, and she recognized the moment for what it was. Malik had not come to her as a brother. He had come as a bridge, one Safia was fully prepared to burn. Amara rose, poured herself a glass of water, and stood by the window. The lagoon glinted in the sun, indifferent to family drama. She liked that about cities. They did not care who you loved. They only responded to what you built. Her phone buzzed. Once. Then again. Malik. She ignored it. By the time she left the office that afternoon, the calls had multiplied. Missed calls. Voice notes. Messages that shifted in tone, confusion giving way to irritation, irritation curdling into anger. She did not open a single one. That evening, back in her apartment, Amara cooked for herself. Nothing elaborate. Rice. Steamed vegetables. Fish seasoned simply with lemon and pepper. She ate standing at the counter, listening to the distant sounds of traffic, letting the day settle. At 8:42 p.m., her phone buzzed again. This time, it was not Malik. It was her bank. Transaction alert. New application submitted. Amara frowned and opened the notification. The details loaded slowly, then all at once. A joint loan application. Her name. Her national identification number. Her employment details, accurate down to the last decimal. Requested amount, 85 million Nigerian nairas. Co-applicants. Malik Diallo. Safia Diallo. Amara felt something shift in her chest, not surprise, but confirmation. They had not asked for her help. They had decided to take it. She set the phone down carefully, as if it might explode, then picked it up again and dialed a number from memory. It rang once. Ms. Diallo, her relationship manager said, already alert. She pulled her full credit report. Then another. Then another. She placed extended fraud alerts, froze her credit across every bureau, and sent notices to every financial institution she had ever dealt with. When she finally leaned back, it was nearly midnight. The city outside had softened, lights fewer now, the noise less sharp. Amara closed her eyes briefly. She had thought the worst part would be saying no. She had been wrong. The worst part was realizing that Malik had not hesitated. The next afternoon, a package arrived. No courier logo. No return address. Just her name, printed neatly. Amara carried it inside, placed it on the kitchen island, and opened it with a knife. A thick stack of papers slid out, clipped together. The first page made her stomach tighten. Confidential investigation report. Subject, Safia Mensa. Amara sat down. A small note slipped out with the pages. The handwriting was familiar, uneven, careful. Her father. I suspected something wasn't right. I didn't know how to tell you. I'm sorry. Amara closed her eyes for a long moment before turning the page. Safia's past unfolded slowly, methodically. A previous engagement. Loans taken out in another man's name. Businesses that never existed beyond Instagram posts. Debt trails leading nowhere but ruin. The pattern was unmistakable. Amara read every page. Twice. When she reached the end, she did not cry. She stood, walked to the window, and looked out at the city she had built her life in, brick by brick, line by line, decision by decision. Then she opened a new tab on her laptop. The property records loaded quickly. The house Malik and Safia lived in. Owner, Amara Diallo. Mortgage, Amara Diallo. She stared at the screen, feeling the final piece click into place. That night, she turned off the mortgage autopay. And drafted an email to her lawyer. Subject, notice to quit, immediate action required. She sent it. Then she slept. For the first time since Friday night, she slept deeply. The lawyer called at exactly 9 the next morning. Amara was already awake, dressed, coffee untouched on the counter. She had not dreamed. Her sleep had been heavy, decisive, like a door closing. I received your email, the lawyer said, voice professional, measured. I reviewed the documents you attached. And? Amara asked. And you were right to act quickly, he replied. Legally, the property is yours. You have every right to issue a notice to quit. Given the attempted identity fraud, this strengthens your position. Amara looked out at the street below her apartment. Vendors were setting up. Life moved on, unaware. How long? She asked. 14 days, he said. If they don't vacate, we escalate. Do it, Amara said. No delays. After the call ended, she stood still for a moment. There was no satisfaction in her chest. No relief. Only clarity. She had spent years believing strength meant endurance. She was learning that sometimes, strength meant removal. Malik found out by noon. He did not call this time. He came in person. The security desk called up. There's a Mr. Malik Diallo asking to see you. He says it's urgent. Amara closed the file she was reading. Send him up. When Malik entered her office, he did not look like her brother. His shoulders were tense, jaw clenched, eyes sharp with something close to panic. He shut the door behind him without being asked. What is this? He demanded, slamming the printed notice onto her desk. Amara glanced at it briefly. A legal notice. You're throwing us out? His voice cracked. That's my home. It's my property, Amara corrected gently. You live there. You never talked like this before, he said bitterly. You used to say we were family. We are family, Amara replied. That's why I didn't call the police. The words landed harder than a shout. Malik froze. You wouldn't, he said weakly. You used my identity to apply for a loan, Amara said evenly. That is a crime. One I chose not to pursue. He ran a hand through his hair. Safiya didn't mean. Stop, Amara said. Her voice was quiet, but it cut clean. This is not about what she meant, Amara continued. This is about what you allowed. Malik looked away. She said it was temporary, he muttered. That once the business picked up, everything would be paid back. What business? Amara asked. He hesitated. Exactly. Amara stood and walked to the cabinet behind her desk. She took out a slim folder and placed it in front of him. Read, she said. Malik opened it. His face changed line by line. Confusion. Disbelief. Recognition. No, he whispered. This can't be real. It is, Amara said. Father investigated quietly. He didn't know how to tell me. Or you. Malik flipped through the pages faster now. The loans. The aliases. The vanished partners. This was before me, Malik said desperately. People change. Patterns change slowly, Amara replied. If they change at all. Malik slammed the folder shut. So what now? You abandon me? I am stepping back, Amara said. There's a difference. He laughed bitterly. Easy for you. You've always had control. Amara met his eyes. No. I've always had responsibility. There was a long silence between them, filled with years that could not be explained in one conversation. You have 14 days, Amara said finally. Use them wisely. Malik stood there a moment longer, as if waiting for her to soften. She did not. When he left, the office felt larger. Quieter. Safiya reacted very differently. She did not come in anger. She came in tears. She appeared at Amara's apartment that evening, eyes red, voice trembling, dressed with deliberate humility, no makeup, hair pulled back, hands clasped like a confession. I just want to talk, Safiya said softly. Amara opened the door fully but did not invite her in. You have 10 minutes, Amara said. Safiya nodded gratefully and stepped inside. I never wanted to hurt you, Safiya began. I admire you. Truly. I wanted to build something like you did. Then you should have started with honesty, Amara replied. Safiya's lips trembled. I was drowning when Malik met me. Debts, pressure, expectations. I thought if I could just get one clean start. And you chose my name, Amara said. Safiya looked down. You were strong. Banks trust you. People respect you. That's because I earned it, Amara said. Tears spilled freely now. I love your brother. I believe you, Amara said. That doesn't absolve you. Safiya looked up, surprised. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Safiya whispered. Just don't destroy us. Amara felt the weight of that sentence settle. Safiya, she said gently, I'm not destroying you. I'm refusing to be destroyed for you. Safiya sobbed quietly. When the 10 minutes ended, Amara opened the door again. Safiya left without another word. The days that followed were heavy with consequences. Malik moved through them like a man waking too late. He argued with Safiya. He slept poorly. He began seeing things he had ignored, missed payments, vague explanations, sudden emergencies that always required money. On the 10th day, he packed his bags alone. Safiya was not with him. He called Amara once more before leaving the house. I don't know who she really is, he said quietly. That's something you'll have to face, Amara replied. I'm sorry, he said. For everything. Amara closed her eyes briefly. So am I. The house stood empty by the 14th day. Amara visited it once, walking through rooms filled with echoes and decisions. She did not linger. Some places were meant to be closed. That night, she sat on her balcony, city lights stretching endlessly before her. The pain was still there, but it was clean now. Honest. Her phone buzzed with a final notification. Fraud alert expired, no further activity detected. Amara smiled faintly. Not because she had won, but because she had chosen herself. The city did not react immediately. It never did. Lagos absorbed stories the way the ocean absorbed rain, quietly, without ceremony, without judgment. People came and went, reputations rose and fell, and the streets kept moving. For a while, Amara's life appeared unchanged. But cities listen. And when they respond, they do so through people. 3 weeks after Malik moved out, Amara sat in a glass-walled conference room, reviewing quarterly projections with her executive team. The numbers were strong. Better than expected. Expansion into Accra was officially back on the table. A junior analyst hesitated before speaking. There's something else. Amara looked up. Go ahead. There are inquiries coming in, he said carefully. From banks. From a few investors. They're asking about a woman named Safia Mensah. The room went quiet. Amara's expression did not change. What kind of inquiries? Background checks, the analyst replied. They want to know if she has ever been associated with us. Or with you personally. Amara nodded once. She hasn't. The analyst exhaled, relieved. After the meeting, Amara called her lawyer again. Things are moving, she said. Yes, he replied. Word travels. Especially when it's backed by paperwork. Will it come back to me? Amara asked. Only if you speak, he said. And you haven't. Amara ended the call, thoughtful. She had learned something important over the years. Truth did not need a microphone. It only needed space. Malik was learning his own lessons. He stayed with a friend at first, then moved into a modest one-bedroom near the mainland. For the first time in years, his life had no cushioning. Every expense mattered. Every decision landed fully on him. Safia called him daily. Then hourly. Then she began showing up unannounced. He saw her clearly now, not as the woman he loved, but as the woman who had survived by improvisation, by bending truths until they broke. You're overreacting, she insisted one evening, pacing his small living room. Everyone cuts corners. You used my sister's identity, Malik said quietly. Safia stopped pacing. She's powerful. She'll be fine. Something inside Malik snapped. That's the problem, he said. You only respect people you think can't be hurt. Safia stared at him, stunned. 2 days later, she disappeared. Her phone went off. Her social media vanished. The silence she left behind was louder than any argument. Amara heard about Safia's disappearance through her father. She came by once, he said over the phone. Asked for help. I told her no. Amara closed her eyes. Thank you. She said you ruined her, he added quietly. Amara looked out at the city skyline. I didn't ruin her. I stopped rescuing her. Her father said nothing for a long moment. I'm proud of you, he said finally. The words landed deeper than anything else had. The story reached its turning point on a Wednesday morning. Amara arrived at her office to find an envelope on her desk. No sender. Inside was a single page. Notice of legal action. Plaintiff, Safia Mensah. Defendant, Amara Diallo. Allegation. Wrongful interference. Emotional distress. Abuse of power. Amara read it once. Then again. Then she laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was desperate. She forwarded it to her lawyer with a single line. Proceed. The case never made it to court. It collapsed under its own weight. Every claim Safia made required proof. Every accusation opened doors she could not afford to open. The attempted identity fraud. The false loan applications. The trail she had hoped no one would follow. Within days, her legal counsel withdrew. Within a week, the notice was formally rescinded. The city had answered. Quietly. Decisively. The real shift came not through conflict, but through opportunity. An international foundation reached out to Amara's firm, requesting a partnership focused on ethical finance and women-led enterprises across West Africa. The irony did not escape her. During the keynote event, Amara stood on stage, looking out at a room filled with young women, entrepreneurs, students, dreamers. She spoke without notes. I used to believe that protecting others meant sacrificing myself, she said. I was wrong. True protection begins with boundaries. The room was silent. When you say no to what harms you, she continued, you make space for what honors you. Applause followed, not loud, but sustained. The kind that meant something had landed. That night, Malik watched the speech online. He did not call. He sent a message instead. I'm learning how to stand on my own. Thank you for letting me. Amara stared at the screen for a long moment before replying. That was always the goal. Later, alone on her balcony, Amara closed her laptop and let the city breathe around her. The pain had not vanished. But it no longer controlled her. She had not been saved. She had saved herself, not completely. Lagos never truly slept, but the sharp edges softened. The crisis passed. The whispers thinned. New stories took their place, as they always did. What remained were not headlines or accusations, but the small, human adjustments that followed truth. Amara noticed them first in the mornings. She woke without the tightness in her chest that had lived there for years. Her calendar was still full, her responsibilities still heavy, but there was a difference now. Each decision felt owned. Chosen. Nothing in her life existed because she had been pressured into it. One Saturday, she returned to the old house. Not to reclaim it, not to sell it yet, just to stand inside it one last time. The rooms were empty, clean, stripped of borrowed futures. Sunlight fell through wide windows onto bare floors. Amara walked slowly, her footsteps echoing. This was where she had believed love meant provision. She understood now that love also meant limits. She locked the door behind her and handed the keys to her agent that same afternoon. Malik came back into her life quietly. No apologies this time. No requests. They met for coffee on a weekday morning, the kind of meeting that had once been impossible for him to afford. He arrived early. Paid for his own drink. I got a job, he said, almost shyly. Not glamorous. But it's honest. Amara smiled. I'm glad. He hesitated. I don't expect things to be how they were. They won't be, Amara replied gently. But they can be real. That was enough for both of them. Safia never returned. Her name surfaced once or twice, rumors of her moving cities, of starting over somewhere else under a slightly different name. Amara did not follow the trail. Some lessons were not hers to complete. Months passed. The foundation partnership grew into a regional initiative. Amara found herself mentoring young women who reminded her of herself before the compromises, before the guilt. One of them asked her during a workshop, "How did you become this strong?" Amara thought carefully before answering. "I stopped confusing endurance with virtue," she said. The young woman nodded slowly, as if storing the sentence for later. On the anniversary of her mother's death, Amara visited the cemetery alone. She stood quietly, hands folded, the city distant behind the trees. "I figured it out," she said softly. "It just took me longer than I thought." There was no answer. But there was peace. That evening, Amara returned to her apartment and stood on the balcony, watching the city lights stretch endlessly into the night. She thought of the woman she had been, generous to the point of self-erasure. She did not judge her. That woman had been necessary. But she was no longer needed. Amara closed her eyes and let the night air wash over her. She had learned the final truth too many people never did. You do not owe your life to those who misuse your kindness. You owe it to yourself to protect what you build. The city hummed softly, approving. And for the first time, Amara felt entirely at home. Not in a place. Not in a role. But in herself.